Congratulations to you both on launching this wonderful resource. 40 poems for 40 weeks, integrating meaningful poetry and word ladders into grades 3 to 5 literacy. As a professor of library studies, I love that this idea was prompted by a librarian, Angela Knight. Good for her. You know what a big advocate for poetry that I have been, and I was so honored to write the introduction for your book. So I may be a bit biased about how fabulous it is. Your focus on sharing poetry as a part of the art and the science of the teaching of reading is right on. And I love that you're highlighting the power and the fun of reading poems out loud with children. And then you follow up with the videos that you've made, David. Maybe we can talk about that too, so that kids can hear the poets reading the poems that they're learning. It's just a wonderful resource. So let's dig a little deeper into how this book came to be. Oh, let me show it. So first, for both of you, and you tackle it however you like. How did you two connect and decide on this book's format with 40 poets, 40 poems, and word ladders?
Well, if I might just start, and then David
Sure.
can follow up on that. Actually, David and I go back many years, I guess, 12 or so. Uh, he was on a trip to Scholastic in New York, and he started chatting with some of the editors, and my name popped up. And next thing I know, I received this email from David Harrison about, hey, I heard you like poetry. And helping kids become better readers using poetry. Are you interested in working together? And ever since then, I don't know how many books we've done together, 6 or 7 or 8 or so, all with combining poetry and using poetry as a vehicle for teaching reading. So this most recent one, and I'll turn it over to David from here, is just kind of an evolution of all that work that we have done.
Mhm.
So David.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. And yeah, I think it's been probably 20 years. So we go back.
Time flies.
Um, well, in Springfield, Missouri, where I live, uh, the the librarian at the school, which I'll get in a plug, is named after me. Thank you very much. Um, Told me one day that she was reading a poem each week to the entire student body at David Harrison Elementary School. And I thought, well, that just is a fantastic idea. I took for granted that there are other children's librarians who do something like that too. I don't mean to say that she had the one and only idea, but she was the one that I knew about. And so I went straight to Tim and said, hey, I got this thing I want to do. Would you be interested? And we talked about pulling together 40 poets, uh, 39 plus me, and each contributing a poem to a book, an anthology, so that librarians, teachers.
But what I love about this whole book idea that David came up with was that you know we, this is something that librarians can do. This is something that parents can do at home, and actually pack a very substantial lesson into just a few minutes. Sharing a poem, perhaps working with the students to read the poem themselves, and then of course uh, do some wordplay
Mhm.
with the well. First of all, in many cases, poetry itself is wordplay,
Right.
but then with the word ladders themselves. So it's really such a nice idea, such a beautiful connection of art and science. And we know, before I retired at Kent State, I ran a reading clinic here for about 35 years,
Right.
and that's what we used with struggling readers: poetry.
Mhm.
Why? Well, the rhythm, the rhyme, the melody made them easily accessible to kids. They love them. They're fun.
Right.
And we found so much progress with kids using these on a regular basis. And then,
Mhm.
using that as the basis for further in-depth study of vocabulary and phonics and whatever the children might need. But it's just been a great experience. And now the challenge is to get the message out to teachers and librarians and so thanks to you, you're allowing us to kind of give you our take on our book.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I totally support you in that. I agree. It's such a great teaching tool that also happens to be just a lot of fun and have
Yeah.
a rich history too, and literary.
Yeah.
Any advice you have for a teacher or librarian or even a parent who has never tried poetry with kids?
Yeah.
Ah, well, I've been using poetry most recently with my grandchildren,
Ah,
and nothing better than to snuggle up. We have a blanket, we call it the reading blanket, and get out a book of poetry and just share it, talk about it, invite my grandson or granddaughter, James or Addie, to start reading along with us. And before you know it, after a couple of visits together and reading together, they're reading it to me. And of course, feeling so proud of their accomplishment. So just making it, a cozy experience. I can't think of
mm-hmm,
any better way of saying it. It's just a wonderful vehicle for moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas to just kind of add on a little bit more to that experience with their children.
mm-hmm. Love
And
that.
one thing that I like about it too, Sylvia, is that there are, I think, a growing number of teachers who use poetry routinely in their classrooms, but that doesn't mean all of them do.
Right.
And it's hard to work in anything else in a busy day, and we get all that. But a poem typically takes no more than a minute to read. You know, Ken Nesbitt wrote a whole book of poems that take less than a minute to read. So by having the librarian, perhaps, or somebody anyway, read one poem a week will be a stimulation. It will be an invitation to teachers up and down the hall to use maybe another poem and perhaps another poem. It's a way of introducing poetry to those who may not have thought about it or used it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Well, thank you both. Poet David Harrison, scholar Tim Rasinski. My name is Sylvia Vardell, and it's been a real honor to talk with you both about this wonderful book. I hope it continues to fly off the shelves.